I'm very skinny. I'm 6'4" and 150 pounds. Like, I'm a very skinny human being. So I know generally what types of characters I'm gonna get hired to play, generally. The two characters that I am playing in this film, one is referred to as the demon, and the other one is referred to as the ferryman.
Mark.
And so the demon is a very aggressive entity, big horns, all black skin, teeth, eyes, crazy, not a very nice person. It's something that never was human, and it's just this evil presence that's working to hurt and destroy this family. There's a lot of appliances. It's about a 3.5 to 4 hour makeup, usually. We have a chest piece that goes on first, and then a cowl, which covers my head and chin. Once that's on, I get a nose, eye bags, lip, and face put on. And then shoulder pieces, forearm pieces, and hand pieces. And then all of me is painted black and this kind of white marbling that goes through.
We've got about 13 appliances we got to put on him, plus fingernails, teeth, and he wears contact lenses.
And horns on my head.
Pretty much covered head to toe.
It's a lengthy process.
It's about a 3.5 hour makeup, and then a lot of fun on set watching him terrorize everybody. It's just a fun, cool creature and a great design. It's a pretty forgiving makeup because it's in the dark a lot, and just making sure that he's comfortable. But with Alex, that's a pretty easy one because he just gets into his character and goes for it.
What I normally do to figure out how a character like this demon moves, when I first get into the makeup, I spend some time and I look at myself in the mirror just to kind of see how the face moves or how the body moves. Because not everything that I do, depending on the appliance, is going to translate to the outside world. So I have to see what range of motion my face has and what I can express through the appliances. Luckily for this one, it's a very expressible piece, so it's pretty easy to get any range of motion I need through it. I look at a character and find who they feel they are, looking and I go, oh, okay, I know who this person is, I know what they're feeling, I know what their general mood is. And for this demon, he loves what he does. Like, it makes him very happy to be tormenting these people. He's overjoyed when it's going his way. Juggling two characters isn't so bad when you look completely different. Our makeup artists do that part of it for me. The ferryman is really interesting.
And I didn't want to do the Grim Reaper because it felt a little too on the nose for this movie, and that's what brought me to the Ferryman, because it sort of has that same sort of iconic imagery. Why is Mary Ellen scared of him so much, and what's her fear? She's scared to death. So it really organically came from character's backstory. I became really captivated by these photos I saw on the internet of these corpses with coins over their eyes. They sort of haunted me for years, and the coins were placed over people's eyes to pay the ferryman so he would ferry their soul across the River Styx and into the underworld. Well, how creepy of a figure is that? He's got this long black cloak, and he's got a lantern, and it really sort of evokes the image of the Grim Reaper.
Gary said it would be great if he wore a cloak, but a different kind of cloak. So he's crossing the River Styx, and there's a lot of marshiness. So I wanted all of the textures and colors to be very natural. See a lot of muddy colors, mud from the marshes. I also incorporated just a few little feathers into the costume itself. The hood on it feels very bird-like.
The ferryman is a really amazing outfit. The only makeup I really have on me is just my hands are painted. There's a full costume that goes on with a shirt and pants and these giant boots, and then big cloak that goes on with this voluminous hood, and then this mask, which is beautiful. It's really mummified-looking skull face with these coins in the eyes.
And they put these giant platforms on him, and they put this awesome costume, which is extremely detailed, layered, textured, really wonderful. And I do makeup on his hands and make him look really bony and spindly. And then to make his hands kind of tie in with his face a little more, we went ahead and painted his nails first black and then metallic silver over the top to really get the silver to pop. When we blended all of that together and tied all of those elements together, put little veins here and there, it really created this very monolithic character. And then Alex just blew it out of the water with his performance.
It moves a lot slower than the demon does. Everything it does, I guess ponderous would be the word. He decides what he's gonna do before he does anything. It's a very fun character to play because I get to really take my time with things and really just look and assess what I'm doing and then make a decision.
I don't know if people realize how difficult it is to emote and act and portray emotion through just your movements, not even the use of your face because he has this mask on.
It was fun to kind of create around Alex and his silhouette to make it feel very skeleton-like. I wanted to give him lift, so he's about 7 feet tall with the costume on, so it feels very dramatic.
When I was a kid, I joined my local haunted house, playing a little clown actually when I was in 8th grade, and I was scaring people and running around. I loved it. I was like, no one does this for a living. I was very thrilled to get to work on this project. So that was a lot of fun.
Who do I play? Well, let's just say she's been called the Bloody Bride.
I'd just written the scene for the Bloody Bride, and the next day James comes in, he's like, hey, I was thinking, what if we did a bride? I was like, dude, I literally just wrote the scene. And that was very early on in my writing process, so immediately I felt like we're gonna be on the same page. Okay, cut.
Gary being so good at creating scares in the proper atmosphere. At first, it can be just an apparition of the Bloody Bride. It's enough to scare the bejesus out of you. My appearances are often accompanied by the Annabelle doll being somewhere nearby.
I just thought haunting imagery of just blood against this white fabric of something that's supposed to be so pristine all the time. It's very ghostly imagery. It was fun creating that backstory too.
I've made up my own horrific backstory. Gary gave me a great tool, and then he kind of let me figure it out on my own. She's really the ultimate bridezilla, Bloody Bridezilla. I do some very bad deeds in this dress. And then the dress gets passed on, mysteriously showing up in these vintage stores where girls who have to be married pick it up, and it makes people do horrible things.
Daniela.
You know, you think about these little stories, and maybe they're future movies, maybe they're not, but they all have these little short stories for this movie, and if you want to know more, maybe we'll tell it.
This is all great.
One of the most fun things about these movies are that you get to really show and present the character as a real person. I really wanted to present a dress that was different from anything else we've seen in the Conjuring universe. So I got very inspired by 1930s styles and presented sort of those ideas to Gary. And we actually really like this picture too from a 1970s dress. So it was a very true feeling from the 1930s, but sort of these elements that felt 70s.
The fabric was vintage, and I remember we needed more of it because of all the scenes and all the blood that gets spattered on it, so we needed some spares. Initially, the fabric was getting dyed, but because that wasn't producing a deep, rich enough, consistent color, she had someone hand-paint it.
It was so much fun to take all these different period-correct dresses and sort of gravitate towards different elements.
Gary was very specific about how the blood spatter should be. We have to think about how she stabs people and how the blood splash would be on her face. We have to make it look realistic, but scary.
This is my first horror part, and I've always been scared of them a little bit. But when you've got this gorgeous dress on and then this incredible makeup that gets scary as you sit there in the makeup chair, and then you get splattered in blood, and you go, okay, I'm ready. So it all helps in the process. I am scaring myself at this point.
I had this scare for a dog. I was like, yeah, I think I want to do something with a trick of light where the lights go out and you can hear this growl in the darkness, and the flashlight shines over and you just see the stuffed dog here, and then the light goes off and you start to hear a growl again in the darkness. You know, you come back on, it's still a stuffed dog. And I'm pitching this to James, and I'm really excited about it. He's like, oh, that's great. He's like, that's great. What if it's a werewolf? And I was like, oh my God, it'd be amazing.
So I refer to that as the werewolf situation. I came into the office and like, I could hear like, werewolf, werewolf. I'm like, werewolf? Werewolf? What werewolf? We don't have a werewolf.
Again, it's just James thinking so big, and he's so great at plussing everything.
You learn the hard way that there is a lot of evil in this room.
This movie really allowed us the opportunity to introduce other artifacts that we didn't initially come across in the earlier films, such as a haunted wedding gown. And then we get to see a haunted stuffed wolf creature, right? When you see that in the movie, you're like, where did the Warrens come across this?
Okay, here we go, pictures up.
We both felt very strongly about including the werewolf because it is actually one of the more famous cases that the Warrens have done.
So you're looking up, and then you turn because it's coming right at you, and you brace yourself, and you turn, and you scream.
To sort of set that table a little bit, just something that we love.
How's that?
Great job, McKenna.
There's so many types of werewolves out there. It's like, what's gonna make it feel fresh and different and new? We went to Justin Rowley at Fractured FX. He's worked with James on a ton of things, Aquaman, and I've worked with him on Swamp Thing. So I hit him up with the idea of the werewolf. He started to do some concept designs, and we started to go back and forth.
Guitars. I felt like it came out really cool.